It's so strange how some of them stay and that mine just won't stay.
Mine won't either.
So I just started the videos that those who aren't here can kind of get a sense of. We're playing with making little figures, although it's working better for some than others. But it is kind of fun, whatever's happening here, especially, I got to say the element of surprise of these little guys that are popping and then going away. So I'll find out. I'm going to see if I can figure that out.
There's also no way to move the screen down that I can see.
So I am just grabbing, I think it's just pre-sized.
Oh.
You can maximize it though. All right, well, I'll see if I can learn about the whiteboard in times in the future. Just a little fun thing to do as we are welcoming everybody. Let's see if I can now get us back to our regular screen.
No, baby.
All right, did that bring us back? Hello. Welcome, folks. Hi, Cairo, Melissa, Carolina, Ganelle, Megan, Terry, Davey, Sally, Karen, Donna, Barb, Diana, Carol, Chris, Grutej, Karen. And then I've got a couple of people here. It looks like we've got some phone numbers and I don't know who they are. So why don't we just check in? I'll unmute. Each of you can let me know who you are. So hi, who's this? It's in the area code 503.
Hi, this is Megan Phillips.
Oh, hi, Megan.
Hi. And I'm in Portland, Oregon, so I'm so glad to be on the call. Yeah.
Oh, great. So it looks like you're on video and connected on video and on phone. So that's awesome.
Yeah, and I might shift it because I'm driving currently, and then I'm going to have to set up another. But yeah, I'm here listening.
Great.
In many forms.
Terrific. And it looks like we've got one other person here. I'm not sure who you are, so I'm just going to say hello. And somebody else connected by phone?
Hi.
Hi, who's that?
Hi, it's Karen Dale.
Oh, hey, Karen. Okay. Good to
I've got a problem with, but it'll be finished in 10 minutes or so, and I will hop on.
No problem. Great. Okay. All right, everyone. Well, we are here with our second call. So if this is your first time here on Zoom, just a quick reminder of a couple of technical things. On the upper right is where you can select your view and either have speaker view or these wonderful little faces, which I always love to see. And your bottom left is your mute. And we're going to go right into our ARTsignment for this week. So I did, first of all, if anybody here or anybody watching the video is not yet on the discussion forum, be sure to join because that is where the links are posted and also other announcements, including a little sneak peek to the ARTsignment of the week because I know some of you like seeing it before class. Look, I get a thumbs up from Ganelle. But I know sometimes it's also fun to show up and have no idea what we're doing. So this way you get to decide and I don't have to. So I will continue to do that if that's a good practice. And then it's up to you. Yep, great. So today the principle that we're going to dive into is the Abundance Principle of Intuition. And for anybody, is there anybody here live who's in Act 20? We're doing, yep, Sally, Diana, yep, Karen. So we're doing intuition and ACT this week. So I thought it would be a great way to connect to what we're doing in ACT. So I'm going to, first of all, just tell you a little bit about this ARTsignment, and then we're going to do a couple of warm-ups around intuition, and then we're going to have our playtime. So first, I actually am going to show you just the give you an overview of the ARTsignment itself. And to do that, I'm actually going to share my screen again. And this is an art assignment that is in one of the newest collections. Those of you who are ACT alumni know about our collections of art assignments. And the last one that we have is, they're all about intuition. And so this is an intuition art assignment, and I'll just pick it up the actual page from the workbook, or it's the guidebook that includes explanations of each art assignment. And we'll just read through it together right now. If you don't have the screen, I'll read it out loud. This, because it is written for ACT coaches, it's written in language that's instructive, but in talking about working with clients, but of course we can adapt it to our own purposes. But this is the intuitive self. And it says, when a client wants to create a new relationship with intuition, it can be helpful to personify intuition and turn it into an actual persona. An intuitive self is a little magical being that represents intuition and inner knowing. A little sprite that's here to clue you into your intuitive guidance. It's an elf to lead you to yourself. And similar to the Abundance Muse, one of our pivotal art assignments, for those of you who've gone through ACT, you all know about your muse. This elf can then give and receive messages through letters, notes, and other communication. The special feature of the elf is its small size. This example, in the picture here, was created with wrapping paper around wire, but any art supplies can be used. Because it's small and portable, it can travel in a pocket and be a companion as your client goes about her day. And she can learn to be aware of her elf and just have the feeling that's always with her. And she can learn to even mentally consult with it during the course of the day. Questions like, what would you have me notice? What do you see that I may not? What would you most like to do? And in this way, she can receive a consistent stream of guidance from the elf, which is, of course, actually guidance from within. So we've been talking this week about intuition in ACT, and one thing that came up in class is how intuition is different for everyone. It works different for everybody, and we also all have a different sense of, where does this intuition even, come from? Is it coming through the divine? Is it coming from our sixth sense? Is it, coming from some part of us within us that knows more than our five senses knows? Or is it something that comes from outside of us? And this is for all of us to explore and decide for ourselves. So I am not here to tell you what your intuition is and what it means, but we're here to explore how intuition can take on a personified form. And we're going to now do some exercises to sort of move us into exploring intuition and how this might show up. But the reason that I started with an explanation of what we're creating is just so that we can move straight from our exercises into your creating time. So to clarify, as always, as all of these art assignments, any media, art supplies, absolutely anything is perfect to use. Your intuitive elf, intuition self elf can be three-dimensional. It can be a collage. It can be a drawing. It can be two-dimensional. It can be something that's not visual art. It can be represented in another art form. I showed my little being that's about this big, but it doesn't have to be anything like that. However, do think about that small size and the idea that whatever you're creating here is something that you can take with you, that can fit in a pocket, and then it can hide out somewhere so that it's always with you. So keep that in mind as we move toward our playtime today. Is there anybody this week who is, once we start our art assignment playtime, who wants to be in the digital artwork, art room? Anybody want to be working digitally this week? Donna, okay. Anybody else? Okay, Donna, so we'll get you in a digital art room, and that way you can reach out if you have any questions, all right? Okay, so if you can go ahead and grab your paper, your page, and we're just going to do a couple of loose warm-ups to just get ourselves moving. The first thing is, because our whiteboard was only halfway successful for all, let's just start with what we did on the whiteboard, and we'll do those two exercises just on your own. The first is to simply draw a little figure of a little elf. Now, elf could be lots of different things. It could be a little sprite, it could be a little fairy, it could be a little angel. Your little being can be anything that you like. So you can just draw a little figure. And whatever you drew may or may not have anything to do with what you actually create, but it gets you acquainted with this idea of the little being that's come on your paper. And now, just for fun, write an acrostic poem. That's where you write the words, the letters down in a column, ELF, and it's a 3-line poem that can be about absolutely anything. And each line begins with one of those letters. So again, we're talking about the word elf, and it's fun because it goes with self, but this can be absolutely anything. Again, it can be a little mini guide, a tiny angel, a little fairy, or a little play toy, a little friend, whatever feels right for you. So I'm going to give you a writing prompt now, and you can write what I say and then just keep writing. It is, if I had an itty bitty intuition friend, I would love it to, and then just write whatever comes to mind. You can't do it wrong. If I had an itty bitty intuition friend, and again, you can say itty bitty intuition guide, itty bitty intuition elf, whatever feels right to you. I would love it to. Here's another one. If intuition took the form of a teeny tiny elf, maybe, just whatever comes to mind. If intuition took the form of a teeny tiny little elf, maybe And the next one, if you like completing the prompts, the next one is, I want my intuition elf to be we have one more prompt. It is, my intuition elf wants And if you're ready to go right into playing with your papers and pens and scissors and glue sticks and whatever you have on hand, that's great. If you want to do a little more free writing, here's what I would invite you to do. I would invite some longer free writing, first with the phrase, when I think of my intuition, and then just let it go wherever it wants. And give yourself even a couple of minutes. When I think of my intuition, and anytime you get stuck, you can go right back to that sentence. You also can use this little trick. The trick is to say, what do I mean by blank? So I could say, when I think of my intuition, I think of my gut instinct, that times when I just know. What do I mean by know? Well, I mean that knowing feels deep and warm and right. What do I mean by right? And so this is just a way to get some free writing, very free flowing about intuition. And then a second free writing prompt that you could do also for a few minutes. The first one was, when I think of my intuition, and then writing freely. Another one could be, when I think of my intuitive self, and you can play if you want to say my intuitive self, or if you want to say my intuitive lowercase s, when I think of my intuitive elf, and then just let yourself write. And again, you can use that same prompt over and over. When I think of my intuitive elf, maybe this is something that, and then just let yourself write. So you can go ahead and start playing if you've already got some visuals and you already want to just start. As we spoke about last week, sometimes you have an idea of what you want to create first, and then you can take that idea and create it. Another way that this totally works is to just start putting stuff together and you have no idea what it is, and then at some point you can look at it and say, is there a little elf or persona or guide or little friend in here somewhere? So feel free to take some extra time writing if you like before you move to your supplies, and then we'll be connecting in about 40 minutes. Okay, so as you're working, you can also think about, if it's relevant, you can think about how this little being, this little fun friend might be helpful in your life. What might it mean to hold this little thing in your pocket? How might this help your intuition become more fine-tuned, more joyful and playful? So we're going to go into playtime. Does anybody have any questions for me before we do that? I'll give a check-in when we're about halfway through, and then when we're about to wrap up. Donnie, you disappeared. Are you still wanting to go into the workroom? I'll see if she comes back.
I'm here.
Okay, do you still want to go in the digital room?
Yes.
Okay, anybody else want to go in the digital room? Okay, so Donna and I are going to go play digitally, and I'll come back and check in you guys in a little bit, okay? All right. And I will say this, for those of you who weren't here last week, we share at the end, and then when we do that, then everybody can chat in the chat room and share a little bit about what they're doing. All right, everybody, let's take a deep breath. Now we get to share whatever we've been playing with. So whether you have zoomed out some great little thing that you want to share with us, or if you've just been playing with some ideas, this is just sharing exactly where you are right now. This was intentionally very loose, and you were completely given complete freedom to interpret this art assignment however you like. Of course, it's my hope that in some ways that creating a persona, a tangible thing for intuition is helpful. So we're going to share now. So what I would like to invite you to do is we'll open up, we have the chat screen. So as people are sharing, you can feel free to add your own comments. And that seemed to work really well when we did that last week. So you can just feel free to type any comments that you would like to share. And that's a great way for us to really feel together here in this moment. So let's begin. Let's begin with Carol. Hey, Carol.
Hi.
Hi.
I've been having a good time with the elf over here. My little poem turned into 3 words, which was elegantly leaping friend, which was kind of fun. The elf has all kinds of cool ideas. So we started out with my famous black with stuff on it. And the elf is up at the top, leaping. And then we have in a heart shape the elegantly leaping friend. And then I did a lot of brainstorming that started out being ELF word combinations, and then I kind of went off from that. So we have emotions over here. I'm thinking about my singer spa project and kind of what the elf could kick me into. We had emotions, love and fun, movement, ideas, and moving the body. Then I had a leap of faith down here showed up. That surprised me. And over here was explore, and then I got leap of faith connecting to the exploration over here, which was great fun. And then lots of words like wow and leaping lizards and magic over at the top. And then these are the elements that I'm using: breath, tone and sound and movement in the singer spa. So they're kind of there. And then it seemed like maybe it was time to get a letter from the elf, so I did. And it said, Singer Spa by Elf. Elf here, what's the foundation of Singer Spa? Sure, there's the inner world discovery thing, but what makes it shimmer, sparkle, and sing? Here's what I think. Sunday is fun day at the spa. Time to dance and sing funny songs. Time to finger paint and get messy. Time to roll on the floor like a baby. You get my drift? Think circus, ice skates, balloons, cotton candy, and Bugs Bunny. That's what the elf had to say.
Oh, I love the elf. That's awesome. Everybody can share on the chat screen. I think that's pulled up now. Anything that you'd like to respond to that touched you or connected to you. I just love that. So you made it about your venture, and you know that playful tone came up and that leap of faith. Absolutely love it. That was great.
Thanks.
So cool. And we talked about, coming and putting it in your pocket, and your little elf there, the kind you could either, draw another one or even cut them out. And, because elf here, seems like there may be more to say there. I love that.
I think there probably is. And it's very fun because that's not, I've been thinking of it as like, you know, the Zen spa experience. You go and you put on a white robe and you get a massage and all of that kind of stuff. So this is like a direction I hadn't considered at all yet. So,
Cool.
very
Oh, that's awesome. So cool. Well, I am going to, just because I know we have the great connection with the singer and transformation through song, I'm looking, where's Dewi? Is Dewi? There's Dewi. Hi, Dewi. I had to call on you next. Aloha.
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're great.
Okay, cool. I just busted out some of my new, old but new to me art supplies, and I just started playing with one of the little acrylic artist trading card size, because I thought it would be perfect for the elf expression. And I also had this stamp pad that I had never opened before, so I broke that open and I started playing with my fingerprints as a way to, at first it wasn't so, I guess it was an intuitive thing. I wasn't really thinking about it consciously, but I made my elf out of my thumb for the head and then my pinkies for the hands and the feet. And I put it on, I made it like a paper doll so it can stand on its own. And I also found some wrapping paper that I had, and there's a bunch of like fun candy colors. And I found, I think it's like Valentine's Day paper. So I found the one that has the sugary hearts with the notes on it. So I found the one that says love you on it, so I can tap into the love that's within me. And I used some sparkly gel pens to make the outline.
I love
Look,
it.
it works as a third eye.
I love.
Thank
Absolutely
you.
beautiful. So cute. And I love the fingerprints. Love, love, love. Oh, fantastic.
Thanks.
Fantastic. All right. Barb.
Yeah.
Barb Toby.
Well, you all know that I'm a doll maker, right? So I have this tube. I'm just going to show this tube hanging around my house. It used to have a bottle of essential oils in it, and it's been laying around for months. And I've never really played with digital art before. So I took a paper doll that I'd made recently that held me holding a doll, and that had affirmations around it. And then I created a piece of a shape that would fit on the tube, because I wanted something to carry around in my purse to remember my intuition. So it says, I trust my intuition on the bottom. And then it opens up. And then I'm working on a little doll that'll go inside.
Oh, I love.
I do too.
I love it. I love that you're trying something new. That is so cool.
It was really fun.
Oh, how fantastic. I love that the little tube.
Yeah, I figured, if I were going to ever teach a class on this, people would use toilet paper.
Oops.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yay.
Oh,
Oh,
I looked ahead.
well, I know some people want to look ahead, and so this way everybody wins, right?
Yeah.
I love it. Love it. Thanks, Barb.
Sure.
Diana, you're up next.
Hey, well, I tried making an elf out of paper clips. That didn't work. I tried making an elf out of, those ties that you get like on bread and things like that. I tried making an elf out of that, and that didn't work. But I'm doing a larger project where I'm making a beaded and sequined table runner for Christmas. And so I've been collecting images of Christmas symbols like Santa and elves and stars and ornaments and so on. And I had this little elf that I found, and so it was in a bigger size. So I shrunk it down, and then I colored it, because I'll have to do that for the runner anyway. I always make the patterns, and then I transfer them onto a felt backing and put the beads and sequins. And so I colored my little elf, and I titled him Teeny Tiny Intuitive Elf. And then I didn't have any glue, but I wanted a hard, kind of a cardboard-like backing. But I just took a file folder and I cut out a piece of it. And then on the back, I just put the question, Teeny Tiny Intuitive Elf, what would you have me do? What would you have me say? And so once I glue it together, I can carry it around in my purse.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And who knows, your, quote, elf fails with paper clips and twisty ties. Who knows? They may want to, get resurrected.
I did. The one what I wanted to do was make it out of ribbon. So I needed the base, but it just didn't work. But I may retrieve it out of the trash can and try again.
That's what my intuition is saying, that those little beings aren't quite done. So
Yeah.
I'd encourage you to go back to the trash and pull them up. And I absolutely love what you did too. Yeah. Fantastic. Awesome. All right, Melissa.
Okay. Well, I love the writing part, so I just used my journal to start writing things and come up with the elf idea. And then I have all kinds of projects that I started and never really finished. So I got some of these things out that I made with clay, and I was trying to figure out how I could utilize them. But then I quickly learned it was hard to get them glued onto my little elf guy. But if I had an itsy bitsy little intuition friend, I would love it to bring me joy, confidence, peace, and comfort. And then I had some other sayings, but so I made this little guy to be able to carry and put in my, at work. And those little purple things are little plastic things that I was gonna glue on there, and little green eyes, but, and then just the heart in the middle. And it's yellow representing light and positiveness, and it's on a black background because sometimes we're in kind of a dark world. And so my itsy bitsy wants to elf bring joy and peace and love and happiness.
I love your itsy bitsy joy, happiness. Oh, fantastic. I love this. And you might still explore, how to attach some of those things on it. I love that. Oh, I love what Diana just said, that she had the idea to hang the tag. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Fantastic. Karen D. Hey, Karen.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. I was not in too good of a mood when we started having issues, and so when I was doing the writing part, I kept writing because I was thinking, I would like the elf to do this or to say this to me, and all of it was about you better come up with something that's going to cheer me up, or I'm not interested today. And so I kind of had that as I don't know, not a requirement, but I just was not in the mood to mess around with this. So the little teeny tiny had to show up with. So I wanted something that was already made. If I could do clay or make a doll or something like that, that was what I had in mind. But I don't have those materials. So I remember a couple, 3 or 4 months ago, I was getting ready to go to a mosaic workshop with a friend of mine, and I actually went that day taking a bunch of stuff, little things that I thought I was going to use, but it was just such a not fit. I actually ended up leaving after about, a half an hour to an hour. It just was not going to work. I mean, I couldn't even get started. So I just brought all those little things home, and I remembered one of them. And it was also part of the writing too, that, well, what does bring a smile to my face? And about the only thing that really is guaranteed is, a cat, a dog, or a baby. So I feel like, my itsy bitsy has to be one of those things. So what I remembered that I had in my stash was a little teeny tiny cat. And then I just wanted to make him or her funny looking, but I don't know. I first wanted to glue it on top of a flat rock. So it was something like I could keep, as a little desk thing, tchotchke, but I don't have the right kind of adhesive for that, so it's not. And then I figured, well, there has to be something else on it so I can find it in my purse or see it. So what I did is I strung, it's not yarn, it's fabric from a blouse of mine that I have since used in some collage work. And so I've teased it out into thread, and I don't know if you'll even be able to see this. It's very teeny tiny, but that's, can we get more light?
Yeah, I was going to say, hold it. Yeah, if there's a way. There we go. There's a little light.
Yeah, even that, I'm not sure you can see. I'll try to get my fingers out of the way because it really is tiny. But I like it. I think she's so cute. Here's her little tail, and there's a bunch of red on the end of it, and it's just puffy. And then there's this little tassel part up on top that makes it look less like a cat. And she's black and white striped, and I'm having a terrible time showing it to you. Maybe what I'll try to do is take a photograph of it and put it on our forum. But anyway, that's the best I could do, and it does make me laugh. And so I think that was the main idea today, was to have something small, portable, and that when I look at it, it kind of makes me laugh.
Oh, it's awesome. That tail is incredible. I love it.
There you go.
So cute. So fun. Oh, I love.
Thanks.
Thanks, Karen. Are you in a little bit better mood now?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. So fun.
Yeah, cat elf.
I love it. A cat self. Here's the other Karen. Hey, Karen.
Hey. Well, the last 2 times I've been on Zoom, I've had a lot of trouble with my computer, and I don't know why that is. But my computer just locked up both tonight and Tuesday night, so I had to get off and figure out what was wrong, which I still don't know. But anyway, so I didn't have a lot of time to work. But I was looking at what I had been writing, and so I think since my intuition elf wants to be invisible and hide from me, and I think she's at a fairy ring happy hour right now. So I think I had the idea of butterflies, and so this is. Can you see that? It's a fairy down here. She's
Lift it up a little, Karen. I don't think we're seeing the bottom.
Yeah, you are. There.
There we go. Yep.
Yeah. So I didn't have time to size it correctly, but I've got her on a little string here, so a little, like a stick. And these are all the little thoughts, that, the intuition that wants to fly away, and she's in charge of bringing them back. She doesn't have a name yet, though, so there she is.
That's so cool. She has a job. The job to bring intuition back. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So great. Wonderful fun. Wonderful fun.
It was fun. I had so the fairy came in because my E-words were every little fairy, and I guess I don't think of elves as cute as fairies. It's pretty prejudicial, I think. But anyway.
Oh, that's awesome.
And the other thing that I thought was interesting, because if I had an itty bitty intuition friend, I would love it to tell me all my secrets, the ones that are hidden away in secret heart pockets.
I love that, for it to tell you your secrets. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Little heart pockets hidden away. So cool. Thank you, Karen.
Good.
Megan.
Hi,
Hi.
everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound great.
Great. So neat to see what everyone's done. I did a certain amount of writing about just the theme of my elf or intuitive self being about grounding and also very subtle. And I like the idea. I got into my little cabinet nearby of like all these drawers. And I have like paper for collage and all kinds of ribbons. And I pulled out all these different colors that were kind of light and pink and airy. Little blossoms from my orchid that are dead but seem light and beautiful still. And lots of just papers and cloth. And so I was trying to find like a way to make a base and then just did like a wrapping with ribbon and paper, and things are kind of falling apart, but it's certainly in process. This is sort of like the head. So it's interesting to me. It's a very like grounded, earthy, tangible thing. And I think of my elf as someone that helps me be, or some part of me that helps me be grounded, and that's like solid. And so my elf is pretty bulky and kind of looks like a baby, but it's just kind of interesting to feel like it's that reminder of like solidity and not having to be pushed off center too much, and just and I want to add a bunch of color, like bright colors, or some meaningful pieces of paper that I'm trying to figure out that technique. So
Love. That is so much fun.
And these are actually wrappers, like candy wrappers that I saved to make, or I was making an outfit for a trashin' show, and I had leftover materials that were so fun and sparkly. So yeah, it's neat to see what is inside the intuitive. But I also thought I was tying lots of like knots. I'm like, am I tying my intuition in knots? Like, so made me have some insight. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, that's part of what, part of it is those little ideas that fly in and out while we're working with our hands, and we look again and see what that is, see what might be there. Love it. Well, I'm so glad to see that. And here. Fantastic. All right, let's go to Guru Tej.
Well, when we started, I did draw an elf, and with a funky little head on it, and I didn't like it. I mean, it was okay, but I didn't like that. But next to it, I was just doodling, and I drew a mermaid, and so I started to draw a mermaid, and so that just clicked with me. So I thought, well, I can have water elves. So I started to, and so I usually, when I paint, I never paint so the whole thing of what I'm painting. I always pick like 2 petals in the center, and I make a big painting of that. So I always do things big, and so doing something itty bitty was like, So I did this mermaid out of Sulpy clay, but it's still, I mean, it's as big as my hand. So it's still not like itty bitty. So as I'm looking at everybody's itty bitty thing, I'm like, uh-oh. So I'm working on a much smaller one. She's a little thin, so I'm going to have to bulk her up. So, and I've made these clay mermaids for lots of people, and I've sold them, and I've never made one for myself. So I thought, I think it's time. So that's what I'm working on. So it'll be something in progress.
That is awesome. I love that. I love what you said, that intuition guided you to make something for yourself.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Love, 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 love.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you. Can you?
Okay.
This is
Now I
Katrina.
can hear you.
Hear you?
Sorry.
No problem.
Sorry about that. Gutesh, I was saying how I loved that you were doing something for you and that your intuition guided you to that. That's awesome. And then I called on Carolina. Sorry about that.
No problem. Thank you.
All right, so Carolina.
Okay, so I looked ahead and I changed your assignment a little bit. And instead of creating an intuition elf, I created, and I got a little carried away, some inspirational angels. So this is what the end product looks like. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh,
How cute.
So this one
so cute.
reminds me of faithfulness. This one of perseverance. This one of peace. This one of joy. This one of love. And this one of wonder.
I love them. How many are they all together?
There's 6 of them.
Woo! Now, did you start making those before class tonight? Or
I started on the heads before class.
I
wasn't sure how they were going to turn out, but it all went okay.
They're amazing. Sally had posted a question. What are their wings made from?
It's wire, just thin wire.
Awesome.
So I was inspired.
I love it. I have the image. They're like a whole choir. I want to see them all together, and they can just
Yeah, they're pretty awesome.
like a choir of angels.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
they're actually kind of based off my kids, my physical angels in my world. So.
Oh, that's awesome. Love. Fantastic. Oh, Caroline.
Hi.
Hi.
It's been a long time since I've seen you.
It's great to see you.
Thank you. And I wasn't able to get on last week, so I didn't know the format. So I'm really not totally prepared, except that my elf is also an angel, and I had said ecstatic, living faithfully, and I really feel that angels in my life help me do that. And I think my sense of the intuition was somebody who's as active as I am, is being still enough to hear the whispers, to hear their voices, because I really feel that their voices are there. And so this was my little drawing, and I kept doing these swirls because I felt like they were the whispers. So I will paint this. I will do something. I cannot believe I have more art supplies than a store, and I can't believe I'm not sitting there with this. I didn't know exactly how this format worked. I did paint angels for a year, so I'm surrounded at the moment because someone's coming to look at them tomorrow, and I have about 10 large paintings that I'm surrounded with. So it was just interesting that is what I ended up with tonight. And it happens. I mean, I had an experience today where I had an idea this morning, and I was thinking, it was a story I put on the shelf. I wasn't going to ever touch it again. And I thought, I wonder what happened if I brought that out. And I ended up going to a luncheon at our local university that's always has an interesting speaker, and you have to sit next to a student. Wouldn't you know, the student next to me was studying mechanical engineering and is going to go into biomedical because he's going to build an almost like an angel robot who's going to help people. Well, you know, I was sitting there thinking, wow, that is a sign. I mean, that's somebody really speaking to you. I believe in living angels. So that student was really one of them today. So that's, I kept looking at this black screen thinking, she's going to think I'm so stupid. If I just went how many yards into the studio, I would have been painting, but I wasn't prepared. So anyway, hello, everybody.
You weren't here last week, and so you weren't here when we set our ground rules, which is number one, that you're not allowed to say anything that minimizes anything that you do or do not do. We joked last week about going, like a beep.
No,
whenever.
I'm not going, it's just that I'm sitting without any art supplies in front of me. That's all.
Well, but maybe sometimes that's good, because because you do usually work, with so many supplies, and to, sort of hone in on something that's very, very simple and have this connection, it was meant to be.
But I loved what everybody was doing. I'm just ecstatic they talk about ecstatic living, just the originality and the going right into it. That was great.
Cool. Awesome. Can't wait to see what else you do. Let's go to Mary Fran. Hi, Mary Fran.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes. Now we got it.
Yes. Finally, I'm here. I had a lot of technical problems getting on, so I was 10 minutes late, and I hope I can watch this later.
Yeah.
But I don't have any art supplies around me either, because I don't trust my own ability, and I'm working on it. But here's what I found. Can you see that?
Yeah.
What I decided was that I don't relate to elves that much. So I was thinking of other things, like maybe leprechaun, because I have 4 grandparents who are from Ireland, and but that didn't do it either. So I was thinking of a fairy, and Tinkerbell occurred to me. So, but Tinkerbell is a little unreliable and a little too fast and loose with whatever delivering what you would want, because she's kind of flighty. So I have my fairy elf, whatever you want to call her, is has all the qualities one would want in a celestial being. And I also had the idea of getting a rock or a stone, something you put in your pocket. Because when my daughter was 10 years old, my husband was in the hospital having surgery that was life dangerous, So I told her to put, I gave her a rock to hold on to. And she could, when she had to go to school that day, she could feel the rock and know that her dad was okay. So I was thinking, I could have a fairy rock, or an elf rock or something that I could draw. And also I have this that I've had for years. I don't know if you can, how do I show this?
Lift it up over towards your face. Yep. A little more towards your face. There you go. Yep.
And that is a wizard that gives me advice, so it's like I'm extending it to other beings.
Yep. Awesome.
And my words were let me see if I can find them. Oh, goodness sakes. Oh, it doesn't matter. Anyway, what I was thinking of too, my niece gave me a seal. It's really fuzzy, little tiny seal that I could put in my pocket too. So I thought I'd look up the meaning of seal and the energy that goes with the seal and use that as well. So I might have a bunch of different creatures.
Wonderful.
Yeah, and the main things that I want to do with the intuition is to listen, to connect, and to share.
Lovely. Oh, thank you, Mary Fran. This is great. So glad, and I'm so glad that you made it on.
Oh, thanks, and I love what everybody else said. I'm stealing all your ideas.
That's the idea. It's the collective inspiration.
Yeah.
Sally.
Well, my little fairy turned into an intuitive self. And this is one of the ones that I probably should have looked at before this week, because she really reminds me when my daughter was younger, we probably made hundreds of little fairies out of wire with embroidery yarn. And so they always had like these little curved arms and these little curved legs. So that's kind of where those came from. And then she has a rose quartz heart as her body. And she's got some wild hair going on. and holding a rainbow. And so after I made her, she wanted to speak to me, and this is what came forward when I met her. So when I met my intuitive self, I loved how she reminded me that intuition is the continuum of spirit, from energy on one end and its physical manifestation on the other, symbolized by the rainbow. She remembered, and I got very clearly to hyphenate and then membered me, that intuition is received through my different energy centers, and that its source is love, reflected in her rose quartz heart body. I absolutely love her crazy magical hair, a reminder of intuition's wild mystery. So there she is with her wild hair.
I love her. That's fabulous. Oh, she's great. Just great. Donna, I know you were playing digitally, which was fun. We were in the workroom.
Yeah, I start off with I'm the angel person too, because when I did the ELF, it was engagement, light and lofty and fun. And I sketched this little angel, and then I just decided to play with it digitally. So that's what I did. And digital is quite a bit different from like 3D sorts of art supplies. So I guess I can host.
Yeah, will you share? Yeah, just go to share your screen and you can show it.
It says host disabled attendee screen sharing.
Oh, hold on. Well, I don't want to do that. Hold on. Okay, there we go. I fixed it.
Okay, let's see if I can, there we go. Okay, so there she is. Played with gradients. Got a lot more involved actually in playing with all the tools and things than in the intuition part of it. But I think I just like her having eyelashes and looking down, and so it was fun. It was just fun to play with her, and I think for me, like somebody else said, when I think of elves, I sort of think of Keebler cookies. So an angel is more my elf style, and more my style than an elf. Angels just sort of speak to my spirit. So.
Love that. So gorgeous. And wow, just so many different little beings here that represent so many different things. So we saw a couple of examples, and I'll just share this with the people who are still on as well as those who are watching on video, that there were a couple of examples of writing letters. And so that's something that we've done in ArtBundance when we make muses, ArtBundance muses. And so the exercise of writing a letter to this angel or itty bitty or these wonderful little things that are coming forward. And even if you have more than one, you can write to more than one. And so you could say, dear intuition fairy, there's so many things I want to know, or I'm so glad that you're here and I'm excited to see. Here's what I'm curious about. And you can ask questions. And then this little persona can then write you back, dear Marnie, I'm so glad you asked. Here's what I would love for you to know. So that's a great way to also kind of create some tangibility with whatever you've been tapping into today. Did I miss anybody who's still here? We've had people kind of popping in and out, and so I wasn't sure if I missed anybody. I'll share what I did. I made a little, this is my little handy thing, and she's really sturdy. She's on like some hard cardboard, and I just wanted something that I could hold in my hand, and it kind of reminded me about this idea of not just like intuition, like ooh, but something that's very grounded. And I feel like she's something that I can hold in my hand, and so I feel like when connecting with intuition, that's actually something physical, like to bring the kind of somatic in. So this is just cardboard, and then let's see, what do I have? I used a marker, and then this is like a little lace piece of a doily, and this is a little heart thing that I had from a long time ago. But it looks like a rib cage, and I didn't even notice that until after I put it on. I was just looking through stuff that I gathered before class, and I put it on. I was like, oh my gosh, it looks like the skeleton here. And then this was just a little image, but then I colored her with some marker that I smudged. It was just black and white, and so I like gave her some makeup, glammed her up a little bit, and then I just painted. That was the painting part that I did. So anyway, that's what I got to do, and I love all of our little folks. So let's bring up our gallery view. Everybody hold up your friend. And in the weeks to come, what I invite everyone to do is to just interact, just keep him, her, it, them in your space. And that alone, just having this little creation where you can see it. And that's one of the bonuses of ARTsignments, is that we could sit and we could talk about intuition and journal write about it, and guidance and all the ways that intuition and inner guidance work in our lives. But here, when we make something, we can actually see it, and that's what helps us kind of very like tether us to the connection so that it continues to go with us. So put these little guys in your space, live with them, breathe with them, see what they want to know, bring them with you if they're small enough to be portable, show them your world and what it's like to be you and what it's like to live in your world. And we will continue to play next week. I'm going to bring everybody off mute so all of our little friends can say bye-bye. Bye. I'll put a follow-up thread on the forum as well, so we can share more insights. And I'm just really appreciative of everybody. Bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye.